I don't know who the hell is going to play quarterback this year for Carolina, but I can tell you this, Tar Heel Nation, there is no shortage of people to throw the football to. Huddle up.
You don't want none! You don't want none!
Ready, break. What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, baby, we're going to break down the wide receiver and tight end room, man. There is a plethora of weapons scattered all throughout this thing, man. So we got a ton to talk about. But first and foremost, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you are a Tar Heel and you bleed Carolina blue, this is our year too, and it's the place for you. I didn't even mean to do that, but it just kind of came out that way. So make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, man. Place where all Carolina fans can come and we can hash out, air out our grievances, etc., etc. Now, this is going to be the third installment of me going through basically the four position groups that I'm going to talk about: the offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and the quarterbacks. If you haven't already, please go back and look at the offensive line and the running backs one. But we're going to be talking about wide receivers and tight ends. Now, before we get into that, though, I want to draw your attention to something that's much more important. There's a lot of things in life that are much more important than this game that we love called football, and one of those is the battle that my man Tylee Craft is going through. If you don't know already, Tylee Craft, he dons number 13, and he's been off the field for about the last 2 years battling stage 4 cancer. And, he's just a beacon of light in this program, man. Mac Brown, the staff, and everybody, they love this kid. And, you can't say enough about a young man who's unfortunately had this huge obstacle placed in front of him. And just the fight that you see him put out there every single day. And, so he went recently on X. He said he's retiring from football. He's going to become a student coach right now. And I just wanted to read what he put out there on X. He said, "Hey, Tar Heels. First, I want to thank everyone for all the love and support as I continue to battle with cancer. I've decided to medically retire for now and will serve as a student coach, but the goal remains the same. I'm going to keep swinging and beat this thing. Then once I'm healthy, I'm going to get back into playing shape so I can return to the field. Again, thanks for all the love and support. It means so much. Hashtag Tylee Strong. Go Heels. Tylee, man." And so I just wanted to say, hey, Tylee, we're praying for you, man. We admire you so much for everything that you're going through, brother. And just that, you being able to overcome that adversity, man, it's something to see, man. So I'm sure that all Tar Heel Nation will join me in wishing him all of our well wishes and prayers, man. So hashtag Tylee Strong, bro. Now let's get into this, man. And we'll start with the tight end room, which is one of, if not the best rooms in the entire country, man. And it starts off with senior John Copenhaver. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. Last year he appeared in 12 games, starting 10 of them. But my man was battling injuries all last season. He had 18 receptions for 240 yards, 4 touchdowns back in 2023. And that's despite him battling all of those stinking injuries. Now, he can split out wide, but he's more of an in-tight tight end as opposed to a split end like we'll talk about with Bryson Nesbitt. And the guy's just an above-average blocker as well out there on the edge. So John Copenhaver is probably the best all-around tight end, like traditional tight end that Carolina has on the roster right now. We'll talk about Jake Johnson here in a second, but John Copenhaver with it, how much time he's been with the program and just his ability to catch passes and additionally block out there on the edge. He's probably our most well-rounded tight end, if you will. Then you got senior Bryson Nesbitt. He's 6'5", 235 pounds. He played in 12 games last year and had a stinking huge season. 41 receptions, 585 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, Bryson on the other hand, is more of a split end type receiver, man. He's big. He's a little bit lankier, right? He's not as necessarily compact as somebody like John Copenhaver is, but the guy presents an absolute matchup nightmare for opposing defenses because a lot of times him being out there in the slot, right, or split end, if you will, he's either going to have a heavy linebacker matched up on him or he's going to maybe have a nickel out there or a safety lined up over his head. So that's a matchup nightmare, man. 6'5", 235. He can go up. He uses his body well, and he is going to be a huge offensive threat this year for the North Carolina Tar Heels, man. He can work a little bit on his interior blocking, but they usually don't ask him to do that very much unless they go 12 personnel and you got 2 or 3 tight ends on the field. And then obviously right behind him, you would say, is the redshirt sophomore Jake Johnson, the little brother of Max Johnson, 6'5.5", 240 pounds. He appeared in 9 games for the Texas A&M Aggies last year, and he had 24 receptions for 234 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the interesting thing about Jake Johnson is that he was a 247 Sports top 100 player in his class, and he was the 3rd ranked tight end in the country, so that you can see that this is an extremely attractive tight end room. And Chip Lindsey in that offense, man, you could not ask for a better position to be in as far as your tight ends are concerned. So we'll separate the tight ends and the wide receivers, and we'll talk about whether I'm concerned or confident. Well, I think that everything that I just said to you, you would imagine that I'm not very concerned at all. And if I were to tell you what my concern or my level of confidence is, 1 through 10, I'm going to give this a 1, meaning that I have no lack of confidence whatsoever in this stinking room. God forbid one of these 3 really talented tight ends goes down, bro. There's still somebody back there that's going to be able to pick up that mantle and carry that load, man. And as much as I like Kamari Morales, I was a big Kamari Morales fan. He decided that it would be best for him to transfer out. He went to Boston College. I would still say that picking somebody up like Jake Johnson is an upgrade. And that keeps this tight end room strong for at least another season. So there's a lot to be excited about as far as these tight ends are concerned. Now, moving on to the stinking wide receivers, bro. Obviously, Tez Walker moving on to the NFL is going to be someone that North Carolina is going to have to replace, right? He was Mr. Take the Top Off, man, and Tez Walker specialized in getting behind defenses with that speed. So the question is, who do I think is going to be most equipped to kind of carry that mantle? Well, it's going to be J.J. Jones, man. I got to go with my man J.J. He's 6'2.5", 210 pounds, but he plays so much bigger than he is, bro. And I think he does an excellent job walling off defenders with his body, which makes up for some of maybe the deficiencies that he has as far as his top-end speed, et cetera, man. I'm expecting a really big year from J.J. I'm just a big J.J. Jones fan, man. I know that he's not a burner. He's not going to be the same kind of deep threat that Tez was as far as just running away from people. But when Tez Walker was suspended, the one guy that it seemed like we could get the ball over the top of safeties' heads was the JJ. And he was making some tremendous catches, man. So I am really thinking that with Tez Walker moving on to the National Football League, J.J. Jones being the older guy that he is with all of his experience, I really think that J.J. is about to have a big stinking year. Last year, he had 46 receptions for 711 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I think that you're going to see very similar numbers this year, which would be a great year for a guy like J.J. Jones. Then I like 6'1", 190-pound Kobe Pacehour in the other side of the field. Last year, he had 22 receptions, 282 yards, and 3 touchdowns in only 5 games because he battled injuries the entire year. Kobe Pacehour, man, is like one of those guys that it seems like not too many people are talking about, but every time the lights are on, man, when he's out there on the field, the guy just makes plays. I mean, he really does, man. Kobe Pacehour just makes stinking plays. And if he can just keep himself healthy, if he can get a little bit of better luck, if you will, stay out there on the field, man, I mean, I really think you got a really good guy on the other side of the field, an older guy too, that just makes football plays, man. So I like JJ and Kobe to start out there wide. And then maybe there's a little bit of controversy here as far as who I got starting in the slot, man. I'm going to have to go with, because I just put I put an emphasis on experience. And I'm going to have to go with Nate McCollum, man. Nate McCollum is obviously the guy that transferred over from Georgia Tech 2 years ago. He had some big games as a Tar Heel. He's 5'9", 185 pounds. He had 44 receptions for 469 yards and a touchdown, which came in monster games against Minnesota, where he had 15 catches for 165 yards. And then he also had a really big game against Syracuse, where he had 7 receptions for 135 yards. The issue with Nate McCollum is it seems like he disappeared in other football games. So he had those 2 really big games that shows you what he's capable of, but he's got to be more consistent game in and game out. I think Nate's got tremendous upside. He's a smaller dude, but you get Nate in open field, man, and he can make some things happen. So really good player. I like Nate to start out there in the slot, and I think that you got a really good starting 3 right there. Now, what's interesting about North Carolina after those starting 3 is those might not even be the best receivers on the roster, okay? Because they have a ton of youth and a ton of just explosive guys down here after that. You got 5'11", 185-pound junior Gavin Blackwell. He can be the guy. He might even be the guy that you would stick in there on the slot possibly. 9 receptions for 166 yards. He averaged 18.4 yards per catch last year, and he only played in 4 football games, right? 18 receptions for 239 yards and a touchdown his freshman year. The dude is really good at finding grass when he gets his opportunities on the field, man. So Gavin Blackwell is definitely a guy that you can count on to make football plays as well. He's right there, man. He's in there waiting for his opportunity. A guy that flashed last year, 6'1", 195-pound Chris Culliver. He only played in 2 games, right? He finished with only 1 catch for 41 yards and a touchdown, which was a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch from Connor Harrell against Campbell in mop-up duty. But Chris can fly, bro. He's got that Mr. Take the Top Off speed that we were talking about. I mean, he really does have track level speed, man. And he might be the guy that can step in also with the departure of Tez Walker and just start really getting over safeties' heads and kind of freeing up people trying to drop 8-9 in the box, man. Chris Culliver is a weapon. He's going to be big for this team, and I expect him to start to capitalize as he gets more and more opportunities. He was the number 118th player in his class, according to 247 Sports. So this is a guy that we need to watch out for. He's really, really talented. Then there's 6'2", 195-pound Paul Billups II. He's a redshirt freshman, played in 4 games as a freshman, and he only caught 1 pass for 3 yards in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. But Paul Billups is a guy who's capable of doing big things as well if he gets his opportunity, man. Then you got 6', 190-pound sophomore Christian Hamilton. He appeared in 3 games last year. He had 3 receptions for 20 yards. They were all against Wake Forest. Then you got 5'9.5", 195-pound Javarius Green. He's a freshman, smaller dude, but he's a little bit thicker. A guy that, he can come in and give you some snaps in the slot as well, man. He's a smaller stature guy, but a lot of people like what Javarius Green brings to the table. Now, you got Alex Taylor and Jordan Shipp. These are guys that people are extremely excited about, right? Alex Taylor, 6'1.5", 190 pounds. He was a high 3-star guy And he is a really good route runner who consistently makes tough catches on film. He possesses a lot of quickness off the ball. There's a little bit of question about his top end speed and everything, but he runs really crisp routes, finds grass, and he makes really tough catches. And then the guy that everybody is thinking that could immediately contribute, that we need to be watching out for is Jordan Shipp. 6'1", 190 pounds. He was the 91st ranked player in his class coming out of high school. And like I said, a lot of people think that this kid can contribute immediately. I love his moxie, man. He's just kind of got that aura about him where he knows that he belongs on the field, man. He plays big. He's not afraid of contact in the middle. And he's got sneaky playmaking ability after the catch, man. So don't be surprised if we see Jordan Shipp play an immediate role. I don't think he's going to start, but I definitely think that Carolina finds ways to get him on the field more often than not. So you have a lot of experience, right? You got guys with some snaps, okay? Some of these guys have struggled with the availability factor, right? Staying on the field, being healthy and everything. But then you got a ton of youth behind them, some really skilled wide receivers, man, that are just waiting for their opportunity. I just named you 10 guys. 10 guys that you should feel confident about, Tar Heel Nation, coming in and making plays for this team. I'm talking about Power 4, Power 5, whatever you want to call them, level starters. This wide receiver room is absolutely deep. So you say, what is your confidence level in this group, or your lack of confidence, Russ? Well, the question has to remain until I see it, who is going to take that Tez Walker spot, right, that can provide the takeoff ability, right? Take the top off of the defense. J.J. Jones has shown that he can do it. Chris Culliver has the wheels. Jordan Shipp is right there in the making. He's waiting for his opportunity. But I need to see that first. So we got a lot of experience. We got a lot of guys that run crisp routes. This wide receiver room is deep. My one question is, who's going to be the deep threat, the one or two guys that defenses, have to worry about, and they're not dropping 8, 9 guys in a box. And until I see that, I'm going to put this at a 3. I feel like, we should confidently believe that there's that guy on the roster, right? So I don't think that we're going to have too much issue. It's not like we're going to get to the end of the season and be like, oh my goodness, all we had was 10 possession receivers. I don't feel like that's going to be the case, but I need to see it first, right? I need to see these guys get open, get over the top. I need to see them make those catches consistently, and then I'll get the warm and fuzzy about it. So I'm going to put that at a 3 right now as far as what is your confidence level, or your level of lack of confidence, if you will, with these guys' ability to contribute immediately, right? So I think we're in pretty good hands, man. If the tight end room is a 1 and the wide receiver room is a 3, and my only concern is who can take the top off of the stinking defense, I think we're going to be sitting pretty good. So like I said, I don't know who the hell the quarterback's going to be right now. We're going to talk about that in the next video. But he ain't going to have any stinking shortage of people to throw the football to. So let me know what you think down in the comment section, Tar Heel Nation. Like I said, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one, baby.
I'm a Tar